me and the PH kind of skirt around a thicket there, and then all of a sudden that hippo is, 7 paces heading right at us, and I let another one rip, and it kind of glanced off its skull and into its neck.
Hi there, John McAdams here. Thanks a lot for joining me in this episode of the Big Game Hunting Podcast, where we discuss North Fork bullets, which are what I believe to be the best brand of bullets for hunting Africa. Now, to that end, I have a special announcement to share with you in this episode as well. I am now an investor and a partner in North Fork bullets. Now, I first heard about North Fork years ago from Kevin Robertson, who is a noted fan of our bullets. Now, he discusses them at length in his books, and indeed, he was also the inspiration for designing the Percussion Point bullet, and we'll discuss that bullet in a little bit more detail later in this episode. Now, aside from Kevin, North Fork bullets have a fantastic reputation in Africa in general. And I've also heard from numerous podcast listeners who have had fantastic experiences with these bullets on their hunts, too. Now, all that's great, but I really became a believer myself when I first started hunting with North Fork bullets, and the results have been impressive. They have delivered deep penetration combined with massive wound cavities that resulted in either instant drops or very short, easy tracking jobs on a variety of species. I say all of that to let you know why I decided to throw in with North Fork. I did that because I think they are the best for the sort of hunting situations most commonly encountered in Africa. That said, they are not limited to just hunting in Africa either, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in this episode. Furthermore, North Fork bullets aren't the only bullets that will work in Africa either, and I have nothing against other bullets that are highly regarded and popular for those same use cases, like the Swift A-frame, the Nosler partition, the Barnes TTSX and TSX, etc. I'll also continue to test and hunt with other bullets from time to time as well. And yes, while I will promote North Fork bullets on the show and my other channels in the future, I assure you this podcast won't just turn into the North Fork Bullet Podcast either. I will say that is what we are discussing in this episode, though. Now, to that end, Jay Parnell is joining me on the show today. He is also an American investor in North Fork bullets, and he is our technical support specialist. So he can discuss the real nitty-gritty details of our bullets and how they perform. If you email North Fork with a technical question, there's a good chance he will be the one answering it. Jay is, of course, also an experienced hunter himself, and he has lots of experience afield using our bullets. And in this episode, he will share a couple of stories demonstrating how they perform and examples of the best use cases for each of the various different models that we produce. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started talking to Jay about North Fork bullets. Good morning, Jay. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today to talk about North Fork bullets.
Yeah, good morning, John. Thanks for having me.
Well, to start off with, can you share a story of a hunt by you or by somebody else that really demonstrates the performance of a particular North Fork bullet?
Absolutely. I think the one safari that really comes to mind here is a particular time in Zambia, the Lengwa Valley. Everything was on the list. Buffalo, leopard, all the plains game, croc, hippo. And it was one of my first safaris where I really got to focus on, prepare for, and utilize North Fork bullets. And it was a tremendous success. The SS performed just stellar. 100% success on everything. Handled two buffalo, to be exact. Neither one of them made it more than 10 yards after the initial shot. Excellent penetration, excellent expansion, excellent weight retention, and also got to experiment with the SS on various plains game, which, as you and many probably know, we have the PP version, which I had on safari as well. Took my Leopard with the PP, smacked the cat dead before it left the limb of the tree. Again, stellar performance. But the SS is a very versatile bullet, and I would never feel in a situation with whether it be Plains game or Buffalo where I didn't have the right tool for the job. Even on the Plains game, great expansion, and of course, hammered them very well. So my time in Zambia, which there's been subsequent trips to Zambia since then, but I can always rely on North Fork. If there's any part of the equation, there's so many elements to a safari, but what bullet I'm shooting is now and hasn't been. It's not bullets. I know they will perform.
Now, for those that don't know, we'll talk more about this in a minute, but the SS that he refers to is the North Fork Semi Spitzer. That's a bonded soft point. And then the PP bullet is the Percussion Point. That is also a bonded soft point bullet, but it's designed to expand a little faster for use on cats. So his use of one on a Leopard is textbook employment of one. What rifle were you using on that hunt?
This is my 416 Taylor.
I don't talk to many people that have a 416 Taylor. That's very interesting.
It's one of my pet calibers, I guess I could say. I actually have two of them. The one I took on that safari was a AHR made by Wayne Jacobson up in Montana. It's a CZ 500 standard length action. One of the benefits of the 416 Taylor, you don't need a Magnum action for it. Great rifle, man. It's bulletproof. I can take that gun anywhere. My other one is a custom Mauser, built by another gentleman up in Montana, Wayne Hegelin. And, another great gun, open-sided, kind of my backup gun, I guess you could say.
So for those that don't know, a 416 Taylor is a 4.58 Win Mag neck down to 416 caliber. So it is a 375 H&H parent case, but it's shortened and it'll fit in a 30-06 length action. And you're getting like 416 Rigby performance out of it, thereabouts?
Thereabouts, yeah. I can push a 400 grain bullet at 2,400 feet per second.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misspoke. The custom gun maker is Lee Helgelin. I want to do him justice there because he I don't think he's taking on much work anymore, but fantastic gentleman.
Now, before we move on, can you just scoot just a little bit over so so you're centered? Perfect.
Sorry, there we go.
All good. Okay, so that's a good way to start out talking about these bullets. You went on a big hunt, full bag safari in Zambia, used just a couple different bullets in that rifle, and took Plains game, you took Leopard, you took Buffalo, all with great results with that stuff. You said you took Hippo and Croc as well?
That's right. The Croc, it took about a week to get. We were hunting one particular one, but after about a week of hunting him at various points during the safari, finally got on him. Neck shot, 2 in the neck, 1 in the lungs, as per the pH, and he never moved.
And that was a 400 grain SS.
That's correct. That's correct. Hippo, I'll save that story if I need to tell another one.
All right.
The other thing I'll say too, I took an Orby at 200 yards with a 400 SS. So we were actually after Buffalo that day, and this Orby pops up, and that particular concession only gets one Orby permit per year. There are not many of them there. They'll go whole safaris without even seeing one. So everybody got pretty excited. I think the trackers were more excited about the Orby than they were any other animal. But 200 yards, and the Taylor was up to it, and I was up to it, and a great trophy.
Now the Orby is member of the Tiny 10, right? So one of the smaller antelope. And so this was a case where it sounds like you shot it and took it down easily, but you didn't destroy the cape or any of that stuff in the process either. Never mind.
Yeah, it hit him hard.
Uh-huh.
I still have the cape. I got a good taxidermist.
Okay, well, good. That is one of the problems sometimes with those little animals like that, especially if you hit a bone.
And that's what happened. I had a solid that I could have put down the pipe there, but time was of the essence, and trackers screaming at me to shoot. So, yeah.
So I have a Steenbach that I shot on a hunt many years ago and had a similar story with, right on the shoulder blade. And I mean, there was a hole that big in the offside of him. So I turned it into a full body mount with just that side facing the wall. And
very similar to what I ended up doing.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about North Fork Bullets in general, the company. So how the heck did this company, which started in the USA, end up in Sweden where it is now? So can you tell us a little bit about the process of the evolution of the company over the last few decades?
Sure. So North Fork was founded in Wyoming, Glen Rock, Wyoming, by Mike Brady, 1996. He started making bullets there, spent many years there in Wyoming. Eventually, the company transitioned to Oregon until 2019, just before COVID. And, of course, this COVID was happening. The ownership there, still a small company, just a couple employees, churning out bullets, but nothing in large quantities. Certainly North Fork, although it's had a great following over the years, very loyal following, particularly with safari hunters. Not exactly a household name in the bullet world or ammunition world. So they that ownership was, I think, looking to ride off into the sunset and looking for somebody to buy them. And their European distributor, gentleman out of Sweden, Jorgen, who of course is now our CEO, ends up purchasing the company from the folks in Oregon. And through COVID, of all times,
oh man,
got that purchase pushed through and got the equipment shipped over to Sweden, and got the ball rolling there. Of course, again, COVID, everything was exponentially more difficult back then, but it got through that tough time of the world was experiencing, and really got us up and running. And been in Sweden ever since, and that's where we manufacture all of our products.
Yeah, so that's one of those things that, like, it seems like any big project like that always turns into way more work than you thought it would be. It's more expensive. It's more time consuming than you thought it would be, even under normal conditions. And then I want to say Jurgen told me that like they brought the stuff over to Sweden in like February of 2020 or something like that. And oh man, then the next couple of years were just a struggle with everything going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Europe, I'm sure by and large had more strict everything at that time versus places in the U.S. But no, you got through it, and thankfully, gratefully, we're really hitting it hard today. So.
We're cranking out bullets, shipping them all over the world to include the United States, and supply is now much better than it was a couple of years ago. It's not where we want it to be, but it's getting there.
Yeah, and that was part of Jorgen's vision when he purchased the company. When the bullets were manufactured in the U.S., a lot of labor-intensive processes were utilized, and granted, it wasn't a huge company with not many employees, but their capability to churn out a lot of bullets just wasn't there. So, Jorgen took that, applied modern automation technology streamlining various processes. And yeah, our capability today is magnitudes better than what it was in the past.
Now, Kevin Robertson, good friend of mine, he's been kind enough to join me on the show many, many times, and he is an unabashed fan of North Fork bullets, right? Especially the PP and the cup-pointed solids. So that's where I heard about North Fork bullets. How did you personally discover North Fork bullets, and what made you interested in joining the company?
So, a little more than a decade ago is when I took my first African safari. South Africa, didn't do anything too crazy. My wife was there, so wanted it to be comfortable experience for her, which it was. It was awesome. But ever since that week, I've been more or less obsessed with safari hunting, and I took it to the extreme. As soon as I got home, basically, on the flights back home, I'm searching for, a 4.58 and a Winchester Model 70, and had that, at my doorstep 3 days later. And, so I took the ball and definitely took off running. Now, on that safari, my PH, I'm an avid reloader, avid bullet guy, bullet performance. I have been since I was 15 years old. So I was talking bullets with my PH, and he actually brought up North Fork, and I never heard of them. But, when I got home and started researching and trying out various bullets that I had on hand once I got that 4.58, but ended up purchasing some North Fork, and that's the end of the story. I've never turned back from them.
And then how long have you been with the company?
About a year and a half.
Yeah. So you and David joined together and brought some the American perspective into things and assistance on that side.
That's right. So, after the period during the sell and movement, obviously there wasn't any production, and a lot of folks, including myself, thought, okay, well, North Fork's gone, which would have been a shame. I had a healthy stock of bullets, but, still a disappointment that this product could potentially never come back. Now, when Jorgen pulled the company through COVID and, really established the production again, I purchased some bullets, Swedish made, and, same North Fork bullets. There's no difference. So fast forward a few years after that, and I see an ad in social media advertising for investors, particularly American investors, and got a hold of my good friend David, who's now a partner as well. But for years, we've been wanting to venture into the hunting industry side of things. Didn't know exactly what, but we had a couple goals in mind, and just felt this is a great opportunity to join an organization with a product that was very familiar with and know how they perform. And yeah, so after a few good talks, and we joined the company.
Very, very good. So I had a similar experience as you, and I'm much newer to the company, just a couple of months now, but I'm happy to be here, and I feel like we have good things that are in the works. But let's talk a little bit about some of our products. We'll talk about the different product lines, what they're best used for, all that stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about how they're different from other similar products from other companies out there, and what makes our stuff special. So I guess best place to start would be the Semi Spitzer bonded soft point. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the SS is our I guess you could say flagship bullet. It's what the company was founded on. Mike Brady, he wanted to create the highest quality premium bonded bullet that he possibly could. Now, there were a couple others out there at the time. One of those was the trophy bonded bear claw. That was created a few years before Mike got started.
Now, do I understand right? 1996 was when Mike got started.
That's correct.
Okay, so the bear claw is a couple years older than that,
but older,
but both around that same time frame.
Both around the same time frame. Mike sought to make several improvements over that bullet. The first being the shank of the bullet. Both the trophy bonded bear claw and the SS are a solid shank design. The original bear claw did not have any banding or anything of the sort. Mike chose to create or cut microbanding into the shank of our bullet. So as opposed to a Barnes triple shock with, 3 main larger length grooves cut in the shank, we went with very many micro grooves. Yeah, you can see there.
Yeah, so for those watching on YouTube, this right here is a trophy bonded bear claw. These are both 300 grain 375 caliber. And the trophy bonded bear claw, as you can see, has a couple of grooves cut in the shank, and the Semi Spitzer, in my other hand, has a bunch of little ones cut in the shank.
Yeah. There you go.
So you said differences in the grooves cut in the shank.
Yeah, and as I said, the original bear claw didn't have any grooves at all. The bear claw has gone through various facelifts over the years as it got purchased by Federal and so forth. Another difference is the metal composition. We go with 100% pure copper, which is one of the main differences from that particular bullet. It was made with an alloy. After Federal purchased it, they changed the alloy composition. From what I understand, that didn't turn out so well initially. They had to change it again, and then started cutting grooves in the shank to mitigate pressure issues. Also, the bonding process. Mike created our own proprietary 2-step bonding process for our SS bullets, and that would also differ from the trophy bonded bear claw.
Right. So similar bullets, you got a bonded front core to it that expands, causes a lot of damage like that, but you have that solid rear shank, so the bullet is really tough. It holds together really well, and it penetrates very well, very, very deep in a straight line, which is exactly what you want on a buffalo or a hippo or something like that, for instance.
That is the ultimate goal.
I have shot a few animals with the 300 grain Semi Spitzer from a 375 and the 180 grain Semi Spitzer and a 30 cal. Worked great in each case. Nothing went very far afterwards. Side by side in gel, I'll have its own video demonstrating this. Performance was very similar between, say, the Bear Claw and the Semi Spitzer, but the Semi Spitzer made a little bit longer wound track, a little bit wider wound track. So both were excellent, but ours, I think, was just a little bit better with that stuff. Semi Spitzer we make in all sorts of different calibers, bullet weights. I mean, basically everything from 257 caliber up to 474 caliber for a guy that wanted to use it in a 470. But
that's right. Actually, I've got a 474. Right here, 500 grain.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a loaded 300 grain 375. So I mean, just like he showed you, it looks like a basic soft point bullet at first glance, and it's really, this is what we're talking about with Buffalo and whatnot, is what it is designed for, and you can use it, and people do, say, on a regular hunt in North America or whatnot for deer, but this is a premium bullet that is great for big, tough animals like that. So 257 caliber, 6.5 millimeter, 270, 7 millimeter, 30 cal, 8 millimeter, 338, 358, 9.3 millimeter, 375, 410, 411, 416, 423, 458, and 474 caliber. All kinds of different bullet weights for that stuff. But it seems like probably 300 grain, 375, 400 grain, 416, 500 grain, 458. Those the main ones in that lineup.
Yeah, I would say so. And definitely in the larger bores. I'd also like to make this distinction, too, that in the smaller calibers, the say 308, 180 grain, like you were shooting, SS bullet. So same model name. However, in the smaller calibers, and this is a question I get asked fairly often. The smaller calibers are designed for thinner skin game, just because it's an SS 308 doesn't mean that it's just gonna pencil right through a thin skin gamed animal. They're designed appropriately in the jacket dimensions, so in the nose. So
and that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some of the smaller caliber ones, it transitions from a soft point into a hollow point as well. I want to say my 6.5 millimeter ones have a hollow point on them.
Yeah. So the 257, 6.5, which is 264, and 8 millimeter 323. Those are designated SS, but they have a more of a protected point profile. Okay. So it would appear to be just a hollow point if you look down from the top, but there is indeed a bonded lead core down in there. It's just a bit hidden in the nose of the bullet. More sleeker profile for those three particular calibers. The ballistics coefficients are higher than some of the other calibers, but again, it designated SS. It is a bonded bullet, but the lead core, the bonded lead core, is a bit hidden in the nose there.
So I had some 140 grain 264 caliber loads for my 6.5 PRC, and I absolutely hammered a giant feral hog earlier this year. I must say he was pushing 300 pounds, just shy of 300 pounds. Full penetration, and just annihilated his vitals. And he went 20 yards and tipped over. It was perfect.
No, out here at the ranch, up here, we're inundated with hogs. It's an ongoing battle, but that's one of the great upsides to the North Fork bullets. I no longer have to worry about shot placement, angle of the hog, full frontal, quartering on, head shot, neck shot, tip of the shoulder shot. I don't have to worry. Mm-hmm. I just find the hog and pull the trigger, and I know I'm going to get the result I'm looking for. I spent my youth, shooting Remington core locks and, Winchester silver box ammo, and I've seen bullets just explode, upon contact on a hog, and, totally superficial wound. And, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And it's very comforting.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm heading to Africa just in a couple of weeks. Actually, maybe I may be in Africa when this episode airs, but I'm planning on bringing a 25 Creedmoor with 120 grain SS bullets that Liney Cribb loaded for me, and a 7 PRC with 175 grain SS bullets, also from Liney Cribb. And I will, of course, report back on how all that stuff performs, but everything I've used out of it to this point has been wonderful. So the SS, great, all-around general purpose bullet you can use for a wide spectrum of stuff. And then we have a couple of other more specialized bullets that kind of fill in the gaps along the edges where we don't recommend the SS. So anything else you want to talk about with the SS before we move on?
I think we covered it pretty good.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the Percussion Point bullet.
The Percussion Point, also known as the PP, was designed for large cats, leopard and lion, where those animals, not particularly dense, thin-skinned, and if you happen to wound one, it is not a good day for anybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
So the PP was designed to initiate expansion quicker than the SS. Has a little bit thinner jacket design in the nose, and also has a groove cut below the tip that also initiates quicker expansion into the animal.
Mm-hmm. And so with this, the idea is use one of these bullets on a cat. I'm sure you could use it, say, on antelope, and it would work great in Africa too. And you'll get a little bit less penetration, but a wider wound cavity that is shifted more towards to the left, right? More towards the impact side of things versus a SS.
Correct. And as you mentioned, fantastic on plains game, but still very solidly constructed bullet. It's not going to come apart. It's not going to fragment. Just basically an SS that'll initiate expansion a tad quicker.
And so it still has that solid rear shank, and it still has a bonded front core, but it's just designed to open faster and a little bit more than the SS.
Exactly.
Yeah, my tests say with a 375 SS versus PP in gel, say like the SS will go 36 inches thereabouts, and the PP will penetrate maybe 31, 32 inches. So still really good, just not quite as much, and the wound cavity is a little bit bigger. Now, our lineup of this is a little bit smaller. 375, 410, 411, 416, 423, 458 caliber. So all of the bigger bore safari type cartridges, you can't get this in 30 caliber, for instance, but this is something you're going to Africa on a mixed bag hunt like you were talking about. Bring your 458, 416, whatever. Has some SS for your buffalo, some PP for your antelope, or especially for a leopard or a lion.
That's right. And it goes back to the topic of the smaller bores, the dangerous game isn't in the equation, so they're designed appropriate. So PP in a smaller caliber, it's just not applicable. We already have the right product for the task at hand for the smaller calibers in the SS and its design.
All right, very, very good. All right, now that's the softer end of things. Let's go the other way and start heading towards the more deeper penetrating side of things. So let's talk about the solids first, and start where you want with either the flat point solid or the cut point solid.
We'll start with the flat point solid. That bullet is different from its original design from when things started in Wyoming. Various very knowledgeable individuals. There's one in particular, but did a tremendous amount of testing and developing what he felt improved was the ideal shape and profile of a monolithic solid to absolutely maximize straight line penetration. Mm-hmm. So that data and influence played a huge role in the ultimate design of our flat point solid today. I have one here this is actually a CPS, but the flat point is the same profile as this, with a specifically designed me-plat. Again, the micro banding. Mm-hmm. This is a bore riding bullet, meaning nothing contacts the rifling until you get to the very top band there. So with this bullet here and its design, maximum penetration, the FPS is really for elephant and body shots on hippo, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. That's what it's made for. Not a ton of applications unless you're going for the tiny tin. You know, a lot of people like to use solids. I'm sure I'd have a whole Orby if I would have managed to load one of those that morning. But no, the elephant is the game for the FPS.
Very deep straight line penetration with this.
We've seen several videos of, brain shots on elephant, frontal. One in particular I saw at DSC. The elephant was full frontal, head tilted back, so it was kind of an upper trunk shot. And you can see the bullet, dust cloud in the front, dust cloud out the back, complete pass through on the brain shot of the bull elephant. And we hear about that quite often, stories like that.
Now, we'll dive more into this in a little bit with some of the other niches that are unique to North Fork, but we can talk about it a little bit now. One of the things that we offer is exceptionally heavy for caliber bullets in certain calibers, like a 350 grain 375 caliber, or for instance, 550 grain bullet in 458 caliber. That's offered in the SS as well as in the different solids that we have. And so I have heard stories in some of these cases, and that may have been what you were just describing there, with just incredible penetration, full body penetration on elephants with some of these solids that are really heavy for caliber like that.
Yes, and Kevin Robertson is a huge proponent of the heavy for caliber options. And through his extensive experience utilizing these, he's very well versed in his wealth of knowledge on this very topic. They perform exceptionally well. For me personally, the 430 in the 416 calibers, it's a different animal, and many people are finding out, like you mentioned, the 375 shooting the 350s. It takes the 375 into a completely different category, you could say, in terms of its capabilities.
And say for the 458, just for instance, that 550 grain bullet has a sectional density of 0.375. I mean, that's almost like a made up number. And 500 grain is really good itself at 341. But I mean, that's how you get full body penetration on an elephant.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
So 375, a 300 grain bullet has a sectional density of 0.305, and a 350 bumps that up to 356. So once again, just absolutely incredible. And so, like I said, we offer that in the solids. We also have a 350 grain Semi Spitzer bullet as well in the 375, and a 550 grain in the 458 too. So you can get that massive penetration combined with a really nice, very substantial wound cavity with those bullets too.
Correct.
So that's the flat point solid. You showed us a cut point solid, and was that a 45 caliber?
Now this is a 570.
Okay.
510 or 510 diameter, 570 grain bullet. Here it is right here, the CPS.
So I have one that's a 375.
Yeah. It's let me get the lighting right there. You can see the cavity cut in the nose. And what you get here, and I think you showed an expanded.
Yep. So here's one I pulled out of gel afterwards.
So controlled expansion, we call it a riveting effect. These bullets are just devastating on game. I've shot a stallion zebra with one, and that thing was so dirty, just looked like it was caked with a month's worth of mud. And that CPS smacked that zebra so hard on the impact side, every speck of dust come flying off of that zebra. And it just visually different. The sound was different. It just a tremendous impact. And obviously that zebra just did not move 1 inch, just crumpled right there. So an extreme amount of hydrostatic shock, and with the controlled expansion like it does, the wound cavity, the channel is substantially different than the FPS. Again, slightly less penetration, but very, very good penetration with the CPS versus the FPS.
So this 300 grain cut point solid I have from a 375, you can see just a little bit of expansion on it. I measured it at 0.463 inches, so like 1.25x expansion, just a little bit bigger than its original diameter. But in gel, that made a wound, a cavity about the same in diameter as, say, a certain 30 caliber soft point bullets, and it penetrated between 58 and 59 inches in the gel. So the Semi Spitzer was incredible, 36 inches, which is great. That's in line with all the top end bonded soft point 375 caliber stuff, and we're substantially more than that with the CPS. So you get that great wound cavity, smaller than, say, a 375 SS, but bigger than, like I said, a 30 caliber or thereabouts SS, with just that ridiculous penetration. And I have not shot a flat point solid into gel yet, but you and I talking, I think you were saying that if you're getting 58, 59 with a cut pointed solid, you'd probably get 62, 63, something like that with a flat pointed solid.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So your flat pointed solid, you're going to get that little bit more penetration. Both of them, great straight line penetration. Excellent. It's really hard to catch a bullet in gel when it goes that deep, because if they veer out just a little bit, they go out the side. But I had no problems with it. But deep straight line penetration with that really good wound cavity with the cup pointed solid like that. I don't imagine people recover too many of those bullets from animals.
No, I think I've only recovered 1 or 2 CPSs in my time in using them, which is many years.
Yeah, so I would say here, would you recommend, say, if a person was going after buffalo, for instance, if they subscribe to the theory, you have a soft point first and then solids, you'd put a Semi Spitzer in the tube, followed by a bunch of cut pointed solids?
Yeah, for being a client or the hunter, yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd say that's a solid strategy.
And then a lot of professional hunters will use just cut pointed solids in their rifle.
Depending on their area, but yeah, a lot of our PHs that use our bullets, some of them are in very elephant populated concessions. So they always want to be prepared for an elephant in any situation. So some of those guys prefer to stick with the FPS. But that being said, for the CPS and elephant, we don't personally or as a company recommend that. However, there's many stories, and it seems like a lot here in the last year or so of people taking elephant with the CPS. Again, I wouldn't feel undergunned. Is it necessarily the right tool for the job on an elephant? No, that's the FPS. However, there are instances, documented proof where the CPS did perform well on elephant.
Yeah, so this sounds similar to the Semi Spitzer percussion point deal, where there's a lot of overlap in their best use cases, but there's specific areas where you really want to use them in. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, as a partner in North Fork, if you're going after elephant, FPS is the right tool for the job. I want to make that clear.
Now, we offer the flat point solid and the cut point solid this is actually our widest variety of calibers and bullet weights. 7mm 308 caliber, 338, 348, 358, 9.3mm 375, 408, 410, 411, 413, 416, 423, 458, 468 caliber, .474 caliber, .488 caliber, 500, 505, 510. And for those that were really paying attention earlier, those really big bore 500, 505, 510 were not available with Semi Spitzers, but they are available with the flat point and cut point solid bullets. And we could talk a little bit more about that later if you want, but that's double rifles used a lot on elephant. Perfect tool for the job with those solids.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else we need to talk about with the solids?
We do have the copper expanding, which is technically a solid, a monolithic, offered in the smaller calibers. It's called the CPX, again, copper expanding. That particular model was created for, certain individuals or places that don't allow lead bullets, lead core bullets. Again, expand just like our SS, the Semi Spitzer, the bonded lead bullet, just a pure copper design.
Yeah, so this is a 30 caliber CPX, 168 grain.
So a pretty aggressive hollow point cut in the nose of that bullet. Great expansion and hold together very well. 100% weight retention is definitely the goal, and the outcome with that bullet. It's an excellent option.
Yep, and so so this is a copper bullet, completely lead free, and so you get the pros and cons that come along with a bullet like that. We're going to get a little bit more narrow wound cavity compared to a Semi Spitzer of a similar velocity, caliber, all of that stuff, but it's still good, and you get great penetration out of it as well, like you would with a copper bullet.
And the micro banding design with all of our bullets, which is obviously included in the CPX, really mitigates the copper fouling issue that is seen with other monolithic copper bullets. Growing up, I shot a fair amount of Barnes triple shocks, but I learned very quickly that my cleaning frequency of those rifles I was using while shooting those bullets was dramatically more than other rifles with other bullets. And our design here really makes that a non-issue. I mean, obviously you still need your routine gun maintenance and cleaning schedule, but it is nothing like some of the other monolithics that are available on the market today.
Yeah, so this is a .375 caliber Barnes. I think this was a TT-SX, but you see, similar to the trophy bonded bear claw that I showed you earlier, you have it looks like 3 smaller relief bands cut in it, and with the here's the two of our solids, a lot of smaller ones cut into it. So with the CPX, we have 22 cal 6 millimeter, 25 cal 6.5 millimeter, 270 7 millimeter, 30 cal 8 millimeter, 338, 358, 366, and 375 caliber. Let's move on to the flat nose bullets. The flat point bullets.
Flat point, yeah, FP. Yeah. That's for our lever gunners out there. The flat point, of course, allows cartridges to be loaded in a magazine tube, stacked in there on top of each other. Similar in construction and design as our SS, just with the flat nosed profile.
Yeah, so we have a 30 cal, 348 cal for those with a 348 Winchester, 458 cal for a 4570, and 500. So 30-30, 348, 4570, appropriate bullet weights and all of that stuff for those there. So you said essentially the same sort of performance that you'd get with the SS, just specifically designed for someone with a lever action.
Exactly.
All right.
Not many offerings there, but they're very popular with the lever gun community, and even in Europe, lever guns are becoming more and more popular. The 4570 taking off here in recent years over in Europe. So yeah, great bullets, and appropriate for your lever action needs.
And I would say too that they're optimized for that velocity impact window that you're going to have with those lever guns too, right?
Absolutely. The jacket and the nose profile is designed appropriate for those velocities.
So for the 458, just in particular, someone talking about using this in a 4570, we have a 300, a 350, and a 405 grain flat point for you guys.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about compatibility with double rifles for, say, the Semi Spitzer and the solids.
Yeah. So over the years, there's been several intensive pressure and strain gauge testing done with not only our bullets, but pretty much everything available by individuals, like I said previously, who I would consider as experts in the field, definitely in the know. And, if Woodley, by and large, Woodley is considered the gold standard of anything double rifle Nitro Express, obviously deemed safe for a rifle in that category or in those categories. The testing done, however, showed that our bullets exhibited significantly less strain on the barrels of these rifles.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of safe for a double rifle or even a double rifle, they are absolutely safe. They exert less strain on a barrel than some of the other bullets available, and we're definitely in the lower end of that category in terms of raw numbers on pressure and strain on a barrel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very, very good. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the very specific niches that we fill that are kind of unusual. I mentioned some of them, like the 4.68 and 4.88 caliber solids that we make, that I don't know that anybody else makes bullets for them.
Yeah, those are for obviously older Nitro Express rifles. The 488 being the 475 number 2 Jeffrey version. Hopefully here in the near future, we're making 483, which is the 475 number 2 Ely version, which I happen to own one. So I would love to see that. So we'll get that done. But yeah, a couple of the lesser known, I guess you could say, oddball Nitro Express calibers, we try to accommodate those folks because there's not a lot available. Woodley, had their fire, their terrible issue, which nobody wanted to see. Kynoch or Kynamico or whatever that company is or was recently went out of business. So, the options for these guys with these particular rifles is very limited. So we do try to accommodate as much as we can for rifles of those particular calibers.
And so we have stuff like that. Then we also have some unique bullet weight offerings. So I mentioned, say, like the 350 and 550, 375 and 458 caliber bullets. We're not the only company that does that, but we're one of the few options. Same deal with, say, a 270 grain 35 caliber bullet. So if a guy has a 35 Whelen, a 358 Norma, something like that, they want to use heavy bullets, like, we're an option.
Yeah, or the 358 STA,
Mm-hmm.
absolute hot rod beast of a 358. Or yeah, a heavier for caliber uh, bullet with a very tough construction is absolutely warranted for cartridges like that.
And so most companies, if they're making 358 caliber bullets, they'll have 225, 250 grain, and we have that. We also have a 270 grain semi Spitzer and solid as well for someone that in a situation where doing so was legal, maybe wanted to use it on a buffalo. I think that'd be a deadly, deadly choice on a buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a 35 Winchester in 1895. I load up the 250 grain bullets, and a little bit lower velocity than some of the other cartridges out there. It's definitely a classic, an obsolete round, but
Mm-hmm.
performs very well, particularly on hogs.
Now, while we do serve those very small niches in the market, and 348 caliber being another one that I mentioned earlier, and a lot of the bigger bore stuff, we they're not our most popular offerings, and we have the stuff in the really popular stuff: 180 grain 30 cals, 175 grain 7 millimeter, 286 grain 9.3 millimeter, 300 grain 375, 400 grain 416, 423, 500 grain 458 cal, 500 grain 474 cal for the 470. Any other real pipe hitters that I missed in there?
I think you pretty well covered it there. Um,
225, 250 for the 338 cal. When in the 338 Win Mag, 338 Rum, something like that. But I mean, those are by far our most popular lineups there. Guys going to Africa, guys going to Alaska, guys hunting almost anything anywhere. It'll darn sure work on that stuff. But I mean, Alaska and Africa was how this company really got started, trying to serve those hunters, and we still do a good job making products for them. But that said, our stuff isn't just limited to them either. We, like I mentioned, we make stuff in the smaller caliber stuff, 6.5 millimeter, 25 cal, all of that too. One of the complaints that people have with North Fork bullets, though, is especially say our semi Spitzer, and a lot of our offerings is a lower BC bullet. A lot of stuff in the 0.3, 0.4 G1 BC range, which is perfectly adequate for most shots that people are going to be taking with this stuff. But people want a higher BC offering as well. Say, with something comparable to maybe an ELDX or a terminal ascent or something like that. But that's an issue we're working on fixing, though, aren't we?
that's correct. And yes, we hear that quite frequently, and over the last decade or two, particularly in the U.S. here, people have become quite obsessed with ballistics coefficients, long range hunting. That's just part of the market now, and part of people's mindsets when picking a particular bullet for their long range hunting needs. So yes, our goal is to take our SS bullet, our bread and butter bullet, and we'll obviously be keeping that bullet, but for a few offerings in the smaller calibers, taking those same design concepts and giving it a facelift, a boat tail, more of a Spitzer profile. We'll probably end up with a protected point nose profile, akin to what we already have in the 323, 264, and 257 variants.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we just call it the SSBT right now, just for simplicity's sake and name recognition. But it'd be more of like I said, a Spitzer profile, more sleek design, boat tail, and of course, all that equates to a BC that long range hunting individuals would find appropriate.
Now, don't want to go into too much detail with this yet. Of course, we'll share all the details and whatnot when we're a little bit farther along, ready to have this introduced. But we're probably looking at 7mm 30 caliber at first, maybe a 6.5mm, I'd guess, as well, and bump up that G1BC to in excess of 5 or 0.5 maybe, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we at DSC this year we had a couple prototypes that we had designed and been testing. That's still ongoing. Those were 308 caliber that we brought to the show there. One of those designs it was 0.515 BC. That was for 180 grain bullet. So, yeah, up with the competition. But again, it's not just about creating a BC. We're a hunting bullet company. We have to have the performance as well. So incorporating the SS design components into that, the bonding process, the cutting the micro grooves in the shank will all be incorporated in these SSBT bullets.
Give people the same great things that they love about a North Fork bonded soft point bullet with a little bit sleeker profile to make it a little bit better out 300, 400, 500 yards, etc.
Exactly.
Can you share, as we kind of wrap up, can you share one or even a couple stories if you have them involving a hunt with some North Fork bullets that demonstrates their strengths well?
I mentioned the hog hunting here locally and out at the family ranch, and just having devastating performance on a very tough animal with small caliber rifles. I'm always impressed with that. I mentioned the Hippo earlier. I wanted a dryland Hippo. So we located one, and again, this is in Zambia, a different hunt, but back in Zambia, and came up on this Hippo kind of in a wallow a couple miles from the river, and we kind of got up on a high bank, and we're just 20 yards from the Hippo, and I was loaded with FPSs. This is again out of my 416. So FPS right through the lungs, full pass through. I saw the bullet impact the water behind the Hippo, and the Hippo just stands there. He had his head down drinking water. I pulled the trigger, and he never lifted his head up. Just smacked him hard, and in I guess a testament to how tough these animals are. Just stood there. Of course, I rack another one in, and the trackers were like, "Oh, Bonna, let the Hippo get out of the mud hole." So I was like, "Okay," and the PH agreed, "Yeah, that's fine." So they start making a ruckus and spook the Hippo. Well, it bolts, runs up the high bank, and me and the PH kind of skirt around a thicket there, and then all of a sudden that Hippo is, 7 paces heading right at us, and I let another one rip, and it kind of glanced off its skull and into its neck, didn't find its way to any vertebra, but it did turn the Hippo, so now it's kind of running at an angle away from us. I had 2 more raking shots, and out of my 416, that was it. So the Hippo's still running, and it's now full on away from us, completely facing away, and about, I'd say, 70 to 80 meters away. And I just blindly grab a cartridge out of my belt, throw it in there, and shoot and impact the rear of the Hippo and drop it instantly. Well, come to find out, I had grabbed an SS. So not a solid, our bonded lead bullet, 400 grain, and dropped it. So anyway, and when we walked right up to the Hippo, it was stone dead. It was dead with the first lung shot, but had its last bit of energy there at the end. But anyway, I've got this bullet right here. It's a 416-400 SS through the rear end of a Hippo, completely shattered the leg bone, the femur, and into kind of the, I guess, back half of the guts of the Hippo.
Mm-hmm.
So, I definitely didn't grab the right bullet when I did that, but like I said, I just reached in and grabbed one and put it in the magazine, racked the bolt, and pulled the trigger, and had a good result. But that is just a testament of the capabilities and the toughness of our bullets here. So, yeah.
And you said you found that bullet in the guts of the Hippo?
Yeah, the very, like, it may be penetrated, 2 feet, not extreme penetration, but through the butt of a Hippo and through its femur bone, which is shattered, and to still stay intact. And, it's not as pretty as, say, a 416 from the Buffalo.
Yeah.
But definitely did its job.
And that, like you said, it put it down easy, or maybe not easy, but you put it down. And, a Hippo is quite a bit bigger than a buffalo too. For those that don't know.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder how that things might have turned out different had your first shot been with that Semi Spitzer instead of a solid.
Well, yeah.
But you live and learn, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it seems like Hippo are often one of those animals where people gravitate. PHs will push their clients more towards a solid on because they're so darn big. They're in between a buffalo and an elephant in terms of size, and so since a lot of bullets aren't up to that, from certain shot angles and whatnot, it seems like there's more of a gravitation in certain circumstances towards a solid.
Yeah, and it also depends too. If the vast majority of hippos are taken in the water, so those are brain shots basically, and not as much matter to get through for an appropriate kill shot. But a dryland hippo is a totally different ball game.
Well, let me show you something here. This is not a hippo bone, but this is a giraffe leg bone. And I'm not exactly certain how this compares in terms of size to a hippo femur, but they're probably similar in size. And this is a big, tough bone. And man, hitting this darn thing is rough on a bullet. And the fact that Semi Spitzer blasted right through that thing and shattered it into a bunch of pieces and still held together almost picture perfect like that is a testament to how good that bullet is.
Absolutely.
Well, so where can people get North Fork bullets, both loaded bullet or loaded ammunition and components?
So for loaded ammunition, we don't produce our own ammunition. Hopefully one day, and that's even part of David and I's goal, is to be able to commercially produce loaded ammunition. But today there's several, I guess you could say, custom reloaders. You mentioned Lonnie Cribb at Superior, Hendershots, another great client of ours, and dealer of our bullets. You can get loaded ammunition from there. Pendleton's another one. There's a couple other smaller ones as well. For our bullets as components to loaded ammunition. We do have a dealer network in the U.S. Here recently, in the last couple months. Midway USA became a dealer of ours. Obviously, that was a tremendous step in the U.S. market. Being privileged to get to deal with them and their reach. Couple other smaller dealers. They're Reloading International's another one over in Oregon. There's a couple in Texas. So yeah, our dealer network is growing. That's obviously what we want, to become that household name, which is our goal.
So for those that live in Canada, we have a dealer network in Canada. We just closed a deal with a distributor in Australia, so those in Australia will be able to get them as well. Working on South Africa, we have a network of dealers and distributors in Europe as well. So while we sell most of our bullets in the USA, the network is growing, and people all over the world are getting to the point where they either can or will be able to get North Fork bullets soon.
Yes. And of course, you can order direct from our website as well, northforkbullets.com.
Okay, very good. I'll put links to where people can learn more about some of this stuff in the episode description. So, Jay, how can people get in touch with you personally? Because I know you field a bunch of technical questions about North Fork bullets.
Yeah, me personally, my information's on the website, phone number, email. On africahunting.com, I'm Wildcatter82. Kind of became known for anything technical, reloading advice, using our bullets and otherwise. But obviously, North Fork is my interest and specialty, but I'm willing to help anybody in their reloading needs. It's a passion of mine, and I like seeing people have success and not blow themselves up in the process. So
that's a good goal to have. All right. So as we wrap up today, I'm going to ask you the question I'm asking all my guests on the show this year. You must choose one to hunt with for the rest of your life, either a single cartridge, and you can use any bullet in that cartridge if you select that, or you can hunt with any single bullet type, and then you can use that bullet type in any cartridge. What is your selection?
It'd be the first option, choosing one cartridge with any bullet type, and that would be the gun I started this conversation with, the 416 Taylor.
Very, very good.
It not very well known, but it's well known to me. In my opinion, the finest 416 cartridge ever developed. I can fit it into a standard action rifle. I'm carrying a 9-pound gun and not a 11.5-pound 416 Rigby. Just a very versatile, from whitetail to hogs to elephant to the Orby at 200 yards. I can do absolutely anything with that gun.
And then there's a whole setup of different North Fork bullets you can use in it for any or all of those setups as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yep. Thank you.
I am actually probably hunting in Africa with North Fork bullets right now as you are watching or listening to this episode. And in that vein, I will be releasing some content on YouTube soon where I show how different North Fork bullets perform afield on game and at the range in ballistic gel. And in that same vein, I will also be releasing some content showing how North Fork bullets perform relative to other popular hunting bullets like the Swift A-frame, the Hornady DGX, etc. I will share some of those videos on my YouTube channel. I will share others on the North Fork YouTube channel. Links to both channels are in the episode description. Make sure you subscribe to both so you see those videos when they release. Now, like Jay and I discussed in this episode, several big retailers and custom ammo manufacturers already sell North Fork component bullets for hand loaders or loaded ammo using North Fork bullets. But we are always interested in growing our network of distributors. So, are you a gun dealer? Do you have a gun store or something like that? Do you want to be a dealer? Are you a custom reloader who wants to offer loaded ammunition with North Fork bullets? Are you a writer, a podcaster, a YouTuber who wants to test out and hunt with our bullets? Email me, john@thebiggamehuntingblog.com if you're interested, and we can discuss this in more detail. Now, if you live in the USA and you want to order some North Fork bullets for yourself, visit thebiggamehuntingblog.com/NF. That will take you straight to the North Fork website. To order North Fork bullets from Midway USA, visit thebiggamehuntingblog.com/NF Midway. That will take you to the North Fork section on the Midway website. And like we mentioned, Reloading International is also a major retailer that carries North Fork bullets. If you live in Canada, Prophet River is our main dealer up there. We also have a network of smaller dealers elsewhere in the USA and around the world. But like I said, if you are a dealer and you want to join that list, make sure you get in touch with me. Now, like I mentioned, all of those places sell component bullets for hand loaders. If you need loaded ammunition with North Fork bullets, you have three options right now. Pendleton Ammunition in Oregon, Hendershots Ammunition in Maryland, and Lonnie Cribb with Superior Ammunition in South Carolina. Lonnie Cribb actually loaded some ammo that I used on the podcast hunt in Africa I am on right now. Not to worry, though, more details are coming from that hunt very soon. So remember, you can make your dream hunt turn into a reality, and we can help. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you back here next time on the Big Game Hunting Podcast.